Welcome to initiation exposure of the culminating feature of Vedic knowledge as that Vedas are written on rays of the sun. Today in case focus 4 we will be face to face with the enlightenment preserved as Maha Upanishad. It in fact is the culmination of our initial three focus steps. Number one, existence phenomenon within Surya Rashmi. Divya Pridhi, transcendental boundary of our solar universe, and the transcendence within and at the transcendental boundary. This transcendental boundary, with its strip off, dimensionalizes the outer space as a seventh space, as a pole star origin of our solar universe, and further we know that the pair of transcendental components together as well synthesize a value 7, and therefore value sapt with simple rendering meaning 7 is of TC value 14. It is here where a raised to power 7 is to 12 b raised to power 6 deserves to be comprehended well, as that the transcendence at the transcendental boundary, which will be taking us to pole star 7 space format and hypercube 7 as of a raised to power 7 is to 14 b raised to power 6. It is this feature which ultimately will be taking us to the chapter 5 of Maha Upanishad, where there is preservation that Agyan means the knowledge, ignorance is of value 7 of 7 space format, and the knowledge itself as well is of 7 space format. The knowledge and ignorance both are of equal format features, and this is happening as a raised to power 7 is equal to 14 b raised to power 6, and it is this self-referral boundary of 7 space which is of 14 components, and the formulation sapt with meaning 7 is leading us to TCV value as 14. And further we know 14 is of organization 2 plus 3 plus 4 5 5, which is a fourfold manifestation layer 3 4 5 of hypercube 4, the representative regular body of a creator's space. We know within creator's space there is a transcendental origin, and 5 space as an origin we know is of a solid dimensional frame, and it is of value 15, and therefore the knowledge enlightenment of chapter 4 is going to be an enlightenment of Nidhat. In chapter 3 the Nidhag is of value 23, and 23 is equal to 3 plus 5 a multiply plus 3 into 5, and it is also equal to Anant. As such, how sequentially this knowledge is organized, and a step before in chapter 2 there is a Shukdev, and it is of value 27, and 27 is equal to 3 raised to power 3. Therefore it is a solid dimensional frame of half dimensions. There are triple solid half dimensions. It is this feature of triple solid half dimensions setup which is the Enlightenment Organization of Chapter 2. And in Chapter 1, we are at value Narayan, and he is alone, soul, and its value is 5 raised to power 2. It is also value of a Vishnu, and still further, it is also a value of Prithvi. This organization and features, and 25 is the set of 25 tattva. These are the Sankhya darshans, culmination format, and we know the formulation Dukh as well is of TC value 25. All these features as such deserve to be comprehended well. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of courage shall begin with Maha Upanishad as a culmination of the focus features of the previous 3 steps of Surya Rashmi, existence phenomenon of our solar universe, then the transcendental boundary of our solar universe, and transcendence and ascendance within the solar boundary. These features as such will be covered by the organization format of Maha Upanishad. Maha Upanishad is a scripture of 6 chapters. Of these 6 chapters, the organization is of 14 shlokas, then 71 shlokas, 57, 128, 186 and 82. Total summation value comes to be 544, and 544 is of organization 519 plus 25. Therefore, Narayan is the start with the position. Narayan is alone, is the sole existence, and in this sole existence there is a Srishti, this solar universe, the entire creation, and this entire creation is of value 519. We know that value 519 is the value of 283 letters of 16 Ganita Sutras and 236 letters of Ganita Sutras, making a total summation value 519. We know that our first focus, Surya Rashmi, had initiation in terms of a Devanagari Varnamala, and the second transcendental boundary is a phenomenon which is to be initiated in terms of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras. And now at third, the transcendence and ascendance within the transcendental boundary is the culmination point of Maha Upanishad. Therefore, one shall be well acquainted with Devanagari, and at a second step, one shall be well acquainted with sutras of 16 Ganita Sutras and 13 Ganita Upsutras of value 29, which is equal to the TC value of a Brahma, Creator the Supreme. Therefore, we shall sit comfortably, permit our transcending mind to be face to face with these triple features of Surya Rashmi, what is existing with the phenomenon within the rays of the sun, then the transcendental boundary of our solar universe, and thereafter we have to be face to face with transcendence and ascendance within the transcendental boundary and at a transcendental boundary. Let us open a new page. Let us mention that today we are focusing upon the enlightenment format of Maha Upanishad. Maha is of TC value 20, and it is the value of a Ved, and it is also the value of a Dev. Further, we know that value 20 is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of zero order. Therefore, it is this synthesis phenomenon of the transcendence ranges of zero order which is inherently embedded here. Further, we know that Bhu, Bhava, Swaha are the first three Vyovritis, and the fourth stage is of Mehe. So Mehe is the fourth Vyovriti, and we know when the domain splits, one splits into two parts, then it becomes 5 streams, and at the next step it becomes 12, and the summation value is 20. It is this value of the 4 steps of split of a domain. Then at the next step, Vyovriti, it extends further to the 5th stage, which is of value 29. The formulation Vyovriti is of value 29. One shall sit comfortably and be face to face with these organization format features of Mehe as a formulation of TC value 20, which is parallel to TC value of Ved as well as of Dev, and further it is equal to the synthesis value of the pair of transcendence ranges of 0 order. Still further, it is also equal to the summation value of the first 4 phases and stages of the split of a domain. Now, split of a domain leads to value 20, synthesis leads to value 20, TC value takes to value 20, and this value 20 we know is the value as a 4th Vyovriti, and Vyovriti itself is of value 29. Further, we know Bhur is of value 16, Bhava is of value 17, Swaha is of value 11, and this is of value 20. These stages of value is equal to value 64, and we know 64 is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of creative order. So pair of transcendence ranges of creative order lead us to a value 64, and 64 we know is equal to 4 raised to power 3, and it is also equal to 2 raised to power 6. 64 we know is also takes us to minus 6 order to a 4n order as of 11 steps long. Therefore, this 64 value takes us to 11 steps long transcendence ranges along this minus 6 order to 4 order, and we know 11 is equal to the 11 geometries of 5 space, means 11 Rudras, and formulation Rudra is of TC value 17. Further, we know that Rudra 17 as 17 values range will be giving us 16 gaps, and 17 is the Atma and 16 is the G. This way we see that these values, these features, this organization is the organization which is leading us to the ultimate enlightenment, and this enlightenment is of the format of a Meha Upanishad. Let us sit comfortably and have a fresh look at the organization format of a Meha Upanishad. Let us make this tabulation. This is the tabulation of the organization of Meha Upanishad as of 6 chapters of value 14, 77, 57, 128, 186 and 82 shlokas ranges, which ultimately lead us to value 554, which is equal to 519 plus 25. 25 is the value of a Narayan. So Meha Upanishad begins the initiation exposure for the enlightenment, that when at phase and stage Narayan is the sole existence phenomenon, so Narayan as a sole existence phenomenon creates, and this creation of the Narayan is the total existence phenomenon of our solar universe, which is of the existence phenomenon within rays of the sun. This existence phenomenon as such is of value 519, and 519 is the value of the letters of 16 Ganita Sutras and 13 Ganita Sutras. Now, first of all, let us have a fresh visit to these values 14, 77, 57, 128, 188, 6 and 82. See the value 14. It accepts an organization 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 as a fourfold manifestation of a hypercube 4. As such, this Upanishad is the Upanishad which is beginning its organization with the four space, a creator's space, a space presided by a Lord Brahma. Value 77 is of organization 7 into 11. It is parallel to 7 geometries range of 3 space, while 11 is parallel to 11 geometries formats of a 5 space. We know 3 space is playing the role of an dimension of 5 space, and further we know that 5 space is playing the role of an origin of a 4 space. So we see that we have begun with value 14 as chapter 1, and this value 14 is the value of hypercube 4. Therefore, our initiation had been as hypercube 4, and with this initiation, at the next step, we are reaching at the transcendental origin, and this transcendental origin we know is a 5 space in the role of a domain and 3 space in the role of an dimension. We know 3 space leads to 7 geometries range and 5 space to 11 geometries range. As such, this organization is an organization of value 77. Further, we know that the 4 space itself is a raised to power 4 is to 8 b raised to power 3, so it gives us 9 geometries range. These 9 geometries range are taking us to a spatial order. 2, we are reaching at a negative creative order to negative spatial order. It is going to be a 7 steps long transcendence ranges. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this phenomenon of hypercube 4, which is of 9 geometries range, and the transcendence within 5 space as well is from 1 space to 3 space to 5 space of value 9. Now it is this value 9 of transcendence within hypercube 5, and this value 9 as 9 geometries range of 4 space will get organized as 7 transcendence phases, because 2 space plays the role of a dimension of a 4 space, and further the minus 4 space plays the role of dimension of a minus 2 space. This gives us 7 steps long range. These are the 7 transcendence phases of 4 space. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this phenomenon, that when we shift from chapter 1 of value 14 parallel to hypercube 4 to chapter 2 of value 77, then we are in fact reaching at value 7 into 11, 7 as 7 geometries range of 3 space and 11 as 11 geometries range of 5 space. Further, we know that 4 space is of domain boundary ratio a raised to power 4 is to 8 b raised to power 3, so it has 9 geometries range. However, it is of 7 transcendence phases. This is from minus 24 to value 42. It is this value which deserves to be comprehended well to have a proper appreciation for a reach from value 14 to value 77. Step ahead, we know that value is 57. Value 57 accepts an organization 3 into 95. Further, we know 57 constitutes a reflection wave with value 75, and 75 itself is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of a transcendental order. As such, we see that we had started with 4 space, we had reached at the transcendental origin, and then we are reaching ahead at 5 space playing the role of a dimension. In chapter 3, we see that it is the role of 5 space as going to be of a transcendental order, but we know that 5 space itself is playing the role of a boundary of a 6 space with 4 space as its dimension, and 5 space is creating a within creator space a pair of orientations, a reflection pair, so one shall be blissfully face to face with 57 plus 75 is equal to 132, which is of organization 11 into 12. It is parallel to 11 geometry's range of 5 space and transcendental boundary being of 12 components. Therefore, at the transcendental boundary, the value is going to be 11 into 12. Further, we know 75 minus 57 is 18, which is equal to 3456, a value of a hypercube of 5. So, further we know that 7 space is leading us to 13 transcendence phases. So 13 transcendence phases and 15 geometries range are the features which are being availed by the organization format of a chapter 3. At chapter 4, we are availing 128, which is equal to 2 raised to power 7, and it is equal to 64 plus 64, then 32 to end like this. These are the features which deserve to be comprehended well to have a transcendence from this value to this value. And step ahead, the value is 186. This value is of organization 6 into 31, and 31 we know is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of a linear order. Step ahead, value 82 is equal to 41 plus 41, which is of organization 13 plus 15 plus 13, and synthesis value, a pair of transcendence or dimensional order of 13 leads to a synthesis value 15. 15 itself is 1 into 3 into 5. 13 is equal to 4 plus 5 plus 4. It is equal to 13 as the cube. It is parallel to 13 geometry's range of 6 space, and it is also parallel to the 13 transcendence phases of 7 space, and further we know 13 is parallel to Akshar, and this Akshar is parallel to Prakash, and it is here where we will be face to face with the phenomenon that how the Varans, when are Aksharas, these become the light. It is this feature, it is this value which deserves to be comprehended well. It is this way that we will be face to face with all these phenomena, and we can have a sequential reach from chapter 1 to chapter 6, and ultimately from chapter 6 to chapter 1. Though students, sadhakas, fulfilled with intensity efforts to be face to face with the organization format, features and values of the enlightenment format of Maya Upanishad shall sequentially, very gently be along the organization of the text of Maya Upanishad. Each organization feature, each formulation, each letter, akshara, shabd, nad, jyoti, all these features as these are very, very symmetrically, geometrically, mathematically, and as per the values of the existence phenomenon. This Upanishad is the culmination point of initiation exposure for the organization, format, features and values of Vedic knowledge, as this knowledge is organized, is being systematized, is being put in a syllables, aksharas, which are taking along with them, and as these are parallel to the features of the Ushma of value 20, Jyoti of value 18, Tej of value 15, Agni of value 14, and Prakash of value 30, which gives us value 80, and it is the value which deserves to be appreciated. And for its appreciation, let us have a focus upon the transcendental cavity. The basic organization is to be along the creator's space, a force space. We know force space is enveloped by a solid boundary of 8 components. Now these 8 components, solid boundary, we know is of a spatial boundary. Now this strip off will be leading us to value 2, 5 geometries range, 11 geometries range, 23 geometries range, and 47 geometries range. It ultimately will lead a value 47. Now here 5 space is playing the role of an origin, and this is enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components, and 5 space is a solid dimensional frame of value 15. So there are as many as 10 creative components, so it leads to value 150. Further, we know that 5 space is enveloped by 10 boundary components, and 4 space is enveloped by 8 boundary components. It gives us value 80. So ultimately 6 space is playing the role of an origin, value 6. Then 5 space is enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components. So this transcendental value 15 plus 10 gives a value 150. Further, we know that each creative component is enveloped by solid boundary of 8 components. It gives us value 80. And we know that spatial boundary strip off leads to value 47. Let us be fresh face to face with it. The spatial boundary of the solid boundary of the creators of space is in 5th step. In first step it is value 2, then 5 are the geometries of 2 space, 11 are the geometries of 5 space, 23 are the geometries of 11 space, and 47 are the geometries of 5 space. So in 5th step we are reaching at value 5. So in the Akash Tattva we will be getting a value 47. Further, we know that the 4 space is, there are 10 creative components of the transcendental boundary, and it is enveloped by 8 component solid boundary, so it gives us value 80. We know that there is a transcendental cavity, so the solid dimensional frame value 15 within 10 creative components will lead to value 50. 6 is the origin of a 5 space. Now it is this organization 47, 80, 156 which leads to value 283, and this value 80, 150 and 6 is value 236, and we know that the spatial order will lead to the value 236 on the first edge and 236 on the second edge, making it a total value equal to 519. This 519 together with the value 25 of the Narayan will lead us to value 554. Now it is a 5 space as an origin of a 4 space. So this 5 space transcendental origin, when is transcending out of it, it will be splitting a 4 space into a pair of 4 space with 5 space to the origin, leading to value 13, and this value 13 is the value of Akshar, and this Akshar is also equal to the value Prakash, and from Prakash we will be reaching at Agni. From Agni we shall be reaching at Tej. From Tej we will be reaching at Jyoti, and from Jyoti we will be having Ushma. And this value Ushma, this formulation Ushma deserves to be comprehended well, as the formulation Ushma is the formulation which leads us to value 3, 6, 9 and 2. it would be blissful to take note that our Ushmana letters, Shaf value 2, Saf value 3, Shaf value 6, and Maf value 9. As such, we are face to face with that these Ushmana letters are the ultimate format features. These Ushmana letters provide us transcendence upward as well as the ascendance within. It is this ascendance and transcendence in terms of the values of the Ushmana letters which will be comprehended and which will be bringing us face to face with the ultimate organization format feature of the fourth Vihuvriti Mehe. Fourth Vihuvriti Mehe as Meha Upanishad is to be reached at in terms of the quadruple Ushmana letters. These quadruple Ushmana letters as such deserve to be comprehended well, and it will lead us to Nishtha. It will help us have proper Prashant, full peace. So it is the Prashant. It will be Sankalp Vikalp Rahit. So it is this Prashant state which is to be attained, and this Prashant state we know is the state of value 7 plus value 17. It is this value which is 24. It is the value of 4 cross 6 Purusha. It is parallel to the dimensional frame value of 6 space. So we as Purushas, our existence phenomenon within human frame will go parallel to the existence phenomenon within a Surya Rashmi. It is this parallel phenomenon of rays of the sun and existence phenomenon within human frame which is the ultimate attainment. It is a Gyan. So Gyan, which is of value 21, is as well is of 7 states as 72-3, and Agyan, which will be of value 22, will be leading us to 6 space, 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, and with 7 space as an origin. It is these features where the Gyan and Agyan both are simultaneously existing. So it is Prakash and it is Krishna. So it is a dark matter as well as the light. It is value 13 and value 19, which is of value 32. It is equal to 2 raised to power 5. So these are the frequencies of attainment of the summation value 6, 32 times. And further we know that power set of these 6 elements is 2 raised to power 6 is 64. Therefore, from 32 to 64, this is means from 2. So if we get 32 as a unit from 1 is to 2, it will be taking us that we are within a sphere, within a spatial format where line and square both are available. So it is the Kram Samapti. It is this Kram Samapti of 13 into 26. 13 as a unit, and this is a pair of units, line and a square, and both available with this. It is this feature, it is this value, it is this attainment which is the enlightenment format of Maha Upanishads. One shall sit comfortably, one shall permit the transcending mind to be face to face with the organization format features of Maha Upanishad. It is by being parallel to the organization format features of Maha Upanishad that we will be parallel to the organization format features of the organization of Vedic knowledge, and it is going to be, it will be taking us to, we will be face to face to with that Vedas are written on rays of the sun. It is this printout of the values of the existence phenomenon within rays of the sun as Sakal Rigved Samhita, which is the ultimate enlightenment. It is one Purusha to be face to face with Brahm. Brahm reach from the Purusha initiation point is the reach range of the sadhakas. Thank you very much.